Do you tend to go to the self-help section when you are in the bookstore? Well, if you really want to dig into Tudor life, you can forget all the self-improvement books and take your life advice from a humanist scholar or a court tutor or even an astrologer. Just like the medieval world produced philosophers who wrote handbooks on how to live, the Tudor period was filled with thinkers who believed in guiding people toward a good and balanced life. Their works weren't packaged as tips the way we might expect today, but if you look closely, you will find plenty of wisdom on how to work, study, pray, even laugh. So grab your cup of coffee or your water and settle in, because today we are exploring life advice from Thomas More, Erasmus, Roger Ascham, William Harrison, and John Dee. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather, and I have been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show, which makes it the original Tudor History Podcast. I am, as always, delighted that you are here with me today to talk about self-help Tudor style. Let's start with Thomas More and his balance of community and cheerfulness. One of the most famous Tudor thinkers was Sir Thomas More, who in 1516 published Utopia. In this work, he described an imaginary island society that lived by rules he thought would improve real life in Europe. Utopians, for example, avoided excess and luxury. They ate simple meals in common dining halls, worked only 6 hours a day, and spent their leisure time in reading, music, and gardening. More suggested that people needed both useful labor and enriching rest to live well. Beyond Utopia, his personal letters to his children also contain life advice that feels timeless. He encouraged them to keep a cheerful spirit, even in difficult times, and to balance devotion to study with lightheartedness and humor. For More, living a good life meant working moderately, living simply, and keeping joy alive, even when facing hardship. His lesson sounds surprisingly modern. Moderation and cheerfulness are as important as your work. So, self-help tip takeaway from More: work moderately, live simply, and don't forget to laugh, even in hardship. Next up, Desiderius Erasmus and his Manual for the Christian Knight. Though not English himself, Desiderius Erasmus was one of the most influential thinkers in Tudor England. His Enchiridion Militis Christiani, or Handbook of the Christian Knight, written in 1503, was a manual for living a sincere Christian life. He urged readers to live modestly, avoid superstition and empty ritual, and focus instead on cultivating inner faith. For Erasmus, outward show meant little. He advised that a private prayer said with sincerity mattered far more than grand displays of devotion before others. His Praise of Folly, published a decade later, used humor and satire to point out human weakness. It reminded readers that pride and vanity were foolish, and that humility, kindness, and compassion were the marks of true wisdom. Erasmus's blend of moral seriousness and biting wit made his advice memorable. For readers in Tudor England, his message was clear: don't get caught up in appearances. A good life was built on modest living, honest faith, and a very generous spirit. So, Tudor self-help tip takeaway: don't get caught up in show. Real goodness is simple and sincere. And next up, Roger Ascham on learning with kindness. Roger Ascham was the tutor to Princess Elizabeth and later the author of the Schoolmaster. And he believed that learning should be rooted in encouragement rather than fear. He rejected the common practice of harsh beatings in schools, arguing instead that gentle correction and patient guidance produced way better results. Ascham also recommended broad reading and travel as ways to develop both intellect and moral character. For him, the best education combined books with real-world experience. Even in his work with Elizabeth, he emphasized balance. Study, he told her, should be matched with recreation. Mental labor needed to be refreshed by music, games, and conversation. His humane approach to teaching helped to shape Elizabeth into one of the most learned monarchs in Europe. So, Tudor self-help tip takeaway: learn eagerly but without fear. Gentleness produces better results than force. Speaking of learning and community, TutorCon is just over 2 weeks away. You can join us from anywhere in the world with TutorCon from home. If you've been procrastinating, now would be the time to grab your ticket. You will join hundreds of other tutor enthusiasts online for talks, Q&A sessions, all the fun of TutorCon, all the entertainment, all the community, without leaving the sofa and your comfy jammies. Don't miss out on this 3-day event, October 3rd through 5th. englandcast.com/tutorcon from home to learn more and reserve your spot. All right, let's continue with William Harrison and how to live respectably in Tudor England. William Harrison's description of England, first published in 1577, reads almost like a Tudor lifestyle manual. He cataloged what people ate, wore, and built, offering subtle lessons on what it meant to live properly in Elizabethan society. Harrison cautioned against overindulgence in foreign luxuries, noting that too much reliance on imported goods was weakening English traditions. He emphasized a life lived within one's means, where diet, dress, and housing matched one's station but avoided excess. His work shows that in Tudor eyes, respectability was measured not by flamboyant wealth, but by moderation and order. So, Tudor self-help tip takeaway: live within your means, eat sensibly, and dress appropriately. Status is best shown through moderation. Finally, the very fascinating John Dee. There's going to be a talk about him at TutorCon. Practical wisdom in harmony with the cosmos. The mathematician, astrologer, advisor to Elizabeth I, John Dee offered a very different kind of guidance. In his General and Rare Memorials pertaining to the perfect art of navigation, also 1577, he urged England to embrace exploration and knowledge as the keys to prosperity. Dee believed that mathematics and harmony governed the universe, and that by studying these patterns, people could live more fully in tune with creation. At home, Dee established one of the largest libraries in all of Europe and set out rules for its use. Books should be read, copied, and shared for the collective good. For him, wisdom was not to be hoarded, but spread. So, Tudor self-help tip takeaway: study the patterns of the world. Knowledge leads to prosperity and balance. For Tudor thinkers, a good life was never just about wealth or status. Their life tips focused on moderation, sincerity, community, and learning. Thomas More called for balance and cheerfulness, Erasmus for simple faith and humility, Ascham for kindness in teaching, Harrison for moderation in daily life, and John Dee for harmony through knowledge. All really good, solid tips, I think. Maybe we don't need to follow all the Tudor rules, but their wisdom is still applicable to us. Live simply, learn kindly, stay curious, and perhaps keep a little cheerfulness even in the face of hardship. So there we go, my friend, some Tudor life tips. Which of these spoke to you? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts on this life advice from Tudor thinkers. All right. If you made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. Helps to feed that algorithm and get our content to even more people. I also hope I earned your subscription to my channel, where I put out videos like this on the regular. If you want to keep watching content on Tudor thinkers, here's a video on John Dee that you might enjoy, or here's one that YouTube thinks you'll like. Thanks so much for being here, my friend. Remember, you are deeply loved. I am so glad I shared the planet with you. You make the world a better place, and I'm so grateful that we got to spend this time together talking about Tudor history. I'll be back very, very soon. In the meantime, don't forget to drink your water.